everyone's talking about the new Star Wars movie, and so are we. So this normally we don't do stuff like that, but since we're kind of huge nerds and we have a YouTube channel, so why not?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just add our voices to it because we haven't talked about it at all. We've both seen it on opening nights, Alberto and me, yeah, we haven't shared our thoughts at all yet. So we'll do that now. Okay, so just
Well, let's start with this. Let's start. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Let's do.
wait. First, we should say this is gonna be full-on spoilers. We're not gonna hold back at all. So if you don't want to get spoiled for this movie, then don't watch us talk about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, bye-bye. See you until you watch the movie.
All
All right, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
So you liked it?
I liked it. There were definitely things that made me, but this is like the geeky part of me, I guess, that made me kind of mad. That I did not like,
all right.
but in
maybe don't nitpick yet. Just
but in general, yes. No, in general, yes. I mean, it was awesome. Probably we are more biased than many people, I guess. Also, that could influence our level of how much we like it and not like it. But
why are we more biased?
I don't know, because we're super. Or maybe I am. Maybe because I grew up watching all the Star Wars movies, had all the action figures, you name it.
Yeah, I think you beat me in terms of Star Wars nerdery.
Yeah.
But I grew up with those movies as well, and I loved them as a kid.
But in general, I think J.J. Abrams did a good job. I think he brought back what Star Wars represented to a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think the movie nails all the elements that make a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it had just good characters, just a fun dialogue, it moved fast, and it just looked gorgeous, I thought. The whole cinematography in that movie was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a whole lot to criticize, like, from my perspective. At least nothing that's like important to how good a movie as a standalone movie is. I mean, there's a few, definitely like some things that I didn't like, but none of those I think impact my overall.
Right. Yeah, as a standalone movie, I think it's awesome. But come on, like when you saw the giant Death Star, were you not really? Again, have they not learned?
Yeah, that's kind of one of my biggest gripes with it, is that it's like yet another Death Star. And yeah, I guess it's not technically a Death Star, but I mean, Death Star, Star Killer.
Yeah,
it's
another Star Killer.
It's a big round thing that explodes planets. So
with another vulnerability that they cannot, put enough security, or I don't know,
Well, I was mentally prepared for something like that because it was on the poster.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I guess they're gonna have another Death Star. But I mean, it was really played very closely to what it was like in the original Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. It was very similar. They did have to put up a little more effort than before. So they did have to first make a hole for an X-wing to fly in. So, and then they had to put the little explosives everywhere for it to blow up.
Yep.
So there's a little more of that, but yeah, it's like I've heard I tried to stay clear of reviews after seeing it and before seeing it anyway, but also after seeing it. But one opinion I've heard is that it's like almost a reboot or like a remake of the original Star Wars. Like A New Hope, and I can kind of see that. Like, it's like the story beats are really similar in
some
all
ways.
respects.
Yeah.
I think the big achievements of the movie are that they have really compelling new characters. Like, I pretty much loved everyone who was in that movie. That we hadn't seen before, and that bodes well for the future movies. And what I was really positively surprised by was how well they integrated the old characters. Like, I really expected Han Solo to be like a 10-minute cameo, maybe, kind of like Spock was in the new Star Trek movie.
And I
It
thought
says
that
like,
his,
"Hey, I'm Han Solo,"
Yep.
and do
I
like one
was
quip, and then
terrified.
yeah,
I thought that his acting was going to be horrible,
Yeah.
and I was also scared that Carrie Fisher's acting was going to be horrible for this movie, and it actually was really good. I
yeah.
think they did a good job.
Yeah, and Han Solo just played a like a lead role, and he was totally fine. It was like I feel like Han Solo, Harrison Ford hasn't really done many like movies in the last 10, 20 years where it felt like his heart was really in it.
Yep.
Like especially that Indiana Jones movie felt totally phoned in for me. I thought, and but here, no, he was like completely on point, and like every scene he was in was kind of cool, and all the banter that he had, both with
Yes.
Chewbacca and the new guys, was great. Like,
Was great,
man.
yeah.
That was really surprising and good. Yeah.
But then, unfortunately, they kill him
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, come on. You
It
had
had
to
to
have seen
happen.
that coming.
Yeah,
There
it had
was
to
no
happen.
way he was going to survive that first
Yeah,
movie. Like,
but
I was
it was
expecting
like,
that.
I was kind of course, being a huge fan of the franchise, it's like seeing one of the heroes of your franchise die. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not- that kind
Yeah,
of.
I know. That was hard to watch. I mean, it was a good scene though. It was a good way for a character like that to go. Like there was kind of emotional impact, and
Yeah,
I think it totally worked.
yeah,
So-
but like inside, I was like, man, they would at least like. I agree, he had to go, but they would have saved if they would have just saved him for the second movie. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like maybe give him a scary moment where like the son almost kills him, he escapes, and then in the second one, same sort of scene, but this time he gets killed. That's what, like, if I would have stretched Harrison Ford's role a little bit more. But it's also expensive, I bet, to have Harrison Ford along for a couple of movies. So maybe it's also money-wise the smart thing to do.
I wonder if that has any like significant impact on the budget. Like that, I'm not sure how expensive that movie was, but I don't know. Harrison Ford's salary is probably like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, and the amount of money that they're going to get back anyways. It's
Yeah,
like, who
holy
cares?
crap. Like
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
the
Probably that
lines
doesn't have to
in
do.
the theaters, which is crazy.
Yeah. And how about in your theater? So I saw it in DC, and every time one of the classic characters from the original movies, every time they had their first frame in the shot, like in the movie, everyone just started like cheering and applause.
Oh, yeah.
Did
People
that happen
were
in your
super
theater?
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Definitely, and there was a lot of. I mean, sometimes I felt like people were like really maybe a bit too eager, like at every joke, like people were like ha 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 ha, like as if they really wanted to. I mean, there were lots of funny jokes in the movie that really worked, but like sometimes like there was like some diehard fans who just were committed to just laugh at everything the movie threw at them.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So people are super excited. I mean, I'm just like too cynical at this point.
Yeah, in general, the jokes were they were good. They were well played.
There was great comedic timing in it, and there was a lot of fan service in it. Like by fan service, I mean like things that kind of harken back to the old movies, and that are really only there for people who are fans, and that new people don't understand. So there was and lots of like kind of sequels and remakes, and so are guilty of that. And usually I think it's kind of a bad thing, but in this movie, I think most of the like fan service elements kind of worked really well because they were just not too in your face. Like the Star Wars prequels were just the worst with that. Like they had like, hey, Anakin Skywalker built C3PO. There was like no reason for C3PO to be in the prequels, but then all of a sudden here he is with like some dumb reason for it to be there.
Yeah.
Or that's like a 2-minute inconsequential scene with like, hey, here's Chewbacca and his whatever, like Wookiee buddy and so on, and like all this kind of stuff. And I felt like in this movie it really wasn't like that. It was like when they had something like that, it was pretty well played. Like the scene, like the first scene, the reveal of the Millennium Falcon was amazing, I thought.
Yes.
The
no
timing
big
of
deal.
that was just so good.
There's this ship here, this piece of junk that's been there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff was amazing.
Yeah, that was really well played. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene in the movie, cinematography wise?
Ooh, cinematography wise, wow. There was so many. I have a hard time picking a favorite scene for that. I mean, there were, I think there were just dozens, if not hundreds, of scenes that were just that seemed also almost like frames directly out of like a concept art book or so. Like where I think in general, just in terms of videography or cinematography in that movie, it was incredibly restrained. Well, I mean, compared to the prequels, every movie is restrained pretty much, but there was just not a lot going on in every shot. Like it was always well composed. You always knew what to look at and so on. But some of my favorites would have been where the girl, what was her name, Ray, where she kind of camps out in the desert, like leaning next to that 8080 walker and has like her picnic. Like that was just beautiful. The opening scene with the Star Destroyer kind of slowly blocking out the planet was amazing. Yeah. Then you have the TIE fighters in the sunset. Yeah. Man, that was so much. I don't know. I could probably go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything filmed in that in Jakku, is that how it's called? On that planet, it was just amazing. And I'm playing the video game too, and they just added that map to the video game to Battlefront, and it's awesome. It's freaking awesome. So I liked definitely the scenes there were one of my favorites, and also I have to say the one that really stuck, like that was like, wow, this is just amazing. Like especially now with technology and everything, is the scene, the views from inside of an X-wing, like from the cockpit view of the pilot, was, to me, I was like super impressed with that. It was just awesome. Like the pilot, like looking to the side, like looking outside and shooting and stuff. Like, yes, like in the classic Star Wars movies, you would only get like the camera angle would only be like from the side or like the person like shooting, and this is what you would see in the from the camera's aspect. Yeah. Just, the person going like this or going like that, going like that. But this one, like that point of view was, to me, that was pretty impressive. That was really cool. I like that. That made it like, well, maybe it is worth seeing this movie again on an IMAX.
Yeah. What did you see it in?
I saw it in a regular theater, but it was 3D, which to me, the 3D, probably not really worth it. Yeah. Like 2D is maybe even better. I think the 3D in this case is more distracting than anything else. It didn't add a huge amount of depth to some scenes. I guess I would like to compare and see. But I also wasn't at the perfect angle, I guess, to see a 3D movie. Like, at least I wasn't in the front row or anything, and I was above, like, the center of the screen. I wasn't below it. It's really ideal to be like right there in the center, and I wasn't there. I was above and a little bit to the side, so it wasn't ideal.
I saw it in 2D, and I probably would go like if I watch it again, I'll probably go 2D again. I don't know. It's like I'm not a total 3D hater, but I usually find it just doesn't add much. Like it's either gimmicky with stuff flying at you. They don't really do that much anymore, but
only if the director, the only good 3D movies are the ones that if the director actually films, thinking about that. That's the only way. Like if it's really planned to be 3D, then those are good ones.
Yeah, because I find often movies in 3D that just, when they're presented in theaters, they're often just too dim, and it just the image quality just usually I find doesn't look as good as 2D because they put like different lenses on their projector, so it's 3D. But then I don't know. I find like often it works out that it just looks better in 2D. Yeah. Like in an ideal theater, that's not a problem. But I don't know. Often I think it is.
So Rey, what do you think about Rey? How is Rey? How does she play into the storyline?
The storyline? Well, first of all, I thought she was great. I thought she was
awesome.
She's pretty much the main character of this movie, and she's awesome. She's
Yeah.
just incredibly good, well played, fun character to be in there. And as far as her role, like they're kind of mysterious. You don't really know where she comes from. It's just like all by herself on this desert planet.
So what do you think is going on
So,
there? What's your...
I mean, the obvious thing that they're hinting at, I would think, is that she's like Luke's daughter.
Yep.
I mean, she could also be. I mean, some people say, "Oh, she's probably Han Solo's daughter," but then
In the beginning of the movie, they were kind of pointing that way with the clues and stuff, and like, oh, all the things she knew about the Millennium Falcon, and all the, she's a good mechanic, and blah blah blah.
yeah,
But
I don't think that's true because I mean, they meet.
Anakin was
and
also
Han and,
a
Han
great.
and Leia meet, and there's like no reaction that would
Yep.
that would say that, and they're like, I don't know, maybe they don't know, but they would. I think they.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense, I think, if they were. So she's probably like either she's like completely someone random, which would be very un-Star Warsy, or she is Luke Skywalker's daughter.
Yep.
I think that's what I would put my money on. It's probably a pretty safe bet.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Stormtroopers
yeah.
role was also pretty cool. Oh my god! But the biggest disappointment. I can't forget this. This was also a disappointment. Captain Phasma, so lame, so lame.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean,
the hell?
I never got hyped up for that, really, to be honest. But
Such a cool looking stormtrooper, and they wasted it. Like I don't know if they're going to do something in the second movie. I hope they do.
I can't imagine that she's not coming back.
Oh my god! It's there. That fight scene between I forget the character's name, the stormtrooper Finn, yes. That fight scene between Finn and that random stormtrooper that had this weapon that
weird electro
sort of
club.
that club thing. Why did they just do that with Captain Phasma?
Yeah, you're totally right. That would have been appropriate. Well, I would think. I mean, they don't show her dying or anything. So, and we know that it's totally possible to get out of a trash compactor.
Yeah.
So I would think she's coming back. Does something in the second movie. Like, there's no way she would. I don't know. Like, they wouldn't have needed like a kind of known face actress for that role if it was just like a random throwaway character.
That is very Star Wars too, though. It's like Boba Fett,
they had
character.
Like, they had Max von Sydow in there the first 5 minutes. That completely that was so unexpected to me. Like he shows up in the first couple minutes of the movie and then gets killed, and I'm like, that took me out of the movie because I had no idea he was in that, and then he was there for 5 minutes and gets killed. I was like, what? How did that happen? Like that piece of casting.
Yeah. He's like an amazing actor, right?
Yeah, and kind of weird. Yeah. So I think overall, I mean, everything worked for me. It was really entertaining. It's very light on like complex background details. Like I thought it was kind of you could sort of figure it out, but like just the political situation was like kind of maybe not confusing, but just really underexplained. I thought like you have the First Order being like some kind of splinter group of the former Empire, and then you have the Resistance, but then you also have the Republic. Like it kind of took me a while. It's like, okay, why do you need the Resistance if you have the Republic and all that? And it was like, I mean, that's not a criticism, but they just really didn't give you a lot to go with on there. But I guess that's just because people really, really hated all the politics stuff from the prequels, so they just went completely in the other direction. Yeah. So what were the things that you didn't like?
Well, not using Captain Phasma well. I mean, it's not really huge things. Again, the Death Star. I think they could have probably come up with something a little bit more creative there. I don't know, or just really focus on the story, like the character development. I think would have been better instead of like adding this whole dramatic, scene to destroy this thing. Like I think, in my opinion, maybe it would have been better spent like I don't know, character development, finding out. I mean, I guess I was very interested in that. And I don't know, not much else. I think they did a pretty good job. I think, like I said, I think it was great.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I would also say just like mostly, I guess, the Death Star business, that felt really a bit too much like a rehash.
Yeah, it was good acting. Like, I can't complain about that. I think, well, maybe Adam Driver, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren, like these little fits that he has.
Those were awesome.
Oh man!
I mean, I think he made the movie. Like, there's nothing.
I think the character Kylo Ren character, surprisingly good. I was also scared that was going to be lame, but you could like kind of feel the evil in that character, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like it's like, well, yeah, this guy's really kind of messed up, and I guess maybe that explains the hissy fits, yeah. But
he's just. I think he was.
But I heard this joke like on
the hissy fits just fit so well into that character.
I've heard that some people are calling him. What did they call him? Like Darth Emo? Like he's
I mean that's
he's
what
an
he is.
Emo.
Yeah. I mean that's I thought was kind of the cool thing about that character, that he's like completely insecure, that he's like really powerful, but at the same time no one respects him really.
Yeah.
And he's like constantly afraid that he's not living up to his own expectation of becoming like Vader and so on. And then obviously he's gonna have hissy fits if he's like basically just like a teenager with too much power.
Yeah,
and like he really reminded me of movies. Like there was like there's a few kind of indie superhero movies. Like, have you seen what's his name? Chronicle?
No.
That was a movie that was kind of like a found footage style movie with 3 teenagers suddenly getting superpowers, and one of them is like the kind of
yes, I have seen
bullied kid that
that
completely abuses his powers then after a while. And it kind of reminded me of that. And I guess he, like, more than once I thought like, okay, this is what Anakin Skywalker should have been in the prequels. Kind of like that more. But I thought it was great. So some of my, I mean, other than the rehash quality, which I also have some other thoughts on, but maybe first the criticisms is there were so many just humans in that movie, and so many practical effects, and so many aliens that were just costumes and makeup and practical effects, which was great. That it made the few like clearly computer generated creatures like really stick out. There's a scene with like these monsters in the Millennium Falcon, in that freighter that they're in. I thought they completely did not fit in that movie. Yeah, and took me out. They were just like the generic tentacle monster, like computer generated tentacle monster that just stood out like a sore thumb to me.
Me too. I was very happy when that scene was over.
But that's not that big a deal. I thought the other thing, the little yellow pirate Yoda lady, what was her name? I can't remember what her name was. So there was like this kind of Yoda-like character in a way.
I know.
Like, she was great. I thought the voiceover was great and all that, so I had no problem with that character or even with the design of the character, but I thought it was, again, one of those computer creatures that didn't really fit in the look of that movie.
Yeah, how about
the worst, I'm working up to that. Like, the biggest, I could look over that too, but like the thing I was really disappointed with was like the actual big bad guy, with the really... not particularly impressive name, Snoke. He just looked... I thought the CGI on him just was bad. To me, he looked like something out of Lord of the Rings or Voldemort or Gollum or so. And I don't know. I feel like it's just a look that's been there like at least half a dozen times in the last 10 years in various fantasy movies. Like,
I would have been happier if it would have been a little bit more like Gollum, but it's actually worse. It didn't really look that great. You're right. I had forgotten about that.
Completely clearly like computer generated, and even even if the quality of the CG was better in that, it still looked, just the design I didn't like at all. It just looked super generic to me. And
Do you think he's actually going to be a giant, or is that just
we
a
talked about
projection?
that. I don't know.
So funny
I don't
if he
know. I
ends up
thought it
being
was
like
kind of
Yoda.
awesome when they had the first scene. I thought it was kind of awesome that he was just this ridiculous giant that was just like 30 feet high. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, he's probably not that big. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't think that he's gonna be just like like an evil Yoda either. Even though that would be really funny. But no, I don't know. I just think that design just I really, man, it would have been so much cooler if it was just a normal dude with makeup,
Yep.
and then because then you just know there's gonna be a confrontation between him and Rey or whatever other character in the third movie, and then and at that point you're just gonna have some like CG creature facing off against
Yep.
one of the heroes, and I
Although
think these movies are so powerful because they have like real people.
they did a good
facing
job with Yoda, I feel, with his fight, and the Emperor
What?
too.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the Yoda fights in the prequels sucked.
Oh no, I think it was
Ah,
awesome because
so
it's
dumb.
Yoda. It's epic. Like that couldn't be done no other
I
way.
thought the whole concept of having Yoda fight with a lightsaber was stupid.
No,
And then
really?
having him flip around like that, I thought it's totally lame.
Oh no, no, I think that was cool. I don't know. Because Yoda is like one of my top 3 favorite characters in.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I like
So seeing
Yoda,
him
but
like
I think
that-
he should have just fought with
Just the
just
Force.
standing there and using the Force or something, but not
Maybe.
like flip around like an idiot.
But it was cool. No, to me it was cool. I liked it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I don't know, but it would make more sense, right? If because even in that time point, you don't like physically see, oh, this is like a young Yoda. He still looks old in the prequels, and kind of looks a little bit, he's carrying the cane and stuff. So you would think that at that point he might use the Force more, but oh well. But I liked it. Whatever.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, even though that, like, as much as I didn't like the design, I thought just I guess the character and the dialogue scenes that he was in were cool. Like, he seemed like a kind of menacing presence, and the interaction was kind of cool between.
Something that people are criticizing too is that Kylo Ren has some training, right, by Luke Skywalker, and then Rey has no training, but she kicks his ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with those kinds of things.
And the thing is that no, me either, because we don't really know like what's going on. Like, did Luke start training him as a kid? Like, how far was he in his training? I don't know, things like that. And also, like, sword play, like the sword fights here were brought down a notch, right? They weren't as, martial arts inspired like all the other ones.
Yeah, well, martial arts inspired is interesting because I think you're right. Like, the sword fights were a lot more grounded in this one, and the prequel fights, they don't even look martial arts like to me. They look like one of those, like Tai Chi demos, or like one of those, Shaolin shows or so. They just look not like an actual fight. They look like something that's studied between two people, like to show off, basically, like a choreography. And the new ones look much more like an actual, I think, sword fight would look like.
Yep. And what I always think of that is also like thinking like maybe it's George Lucas's benefit, and maybe he mentioned this before, like maybe like in the period of the prequels, like that's like the prime where all the Jedis were like super well studied, and you have Jedis that are like super, like Windu was like known to be like the super powerful with his lightsaber and things like that, and then after they all die, like that skill is kind of lost. So maybe that's another way of thinking about it, that the sword fights aren't as good, because although Luke did have Ben as his teacher, but he wasn't really, he didn't have him very long.
Look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi sword fights from the
Right.
original movies. Like,
Yeah, he
there's
learned.
so much happening.
Yeah, he learned from a very old man, and
Yeah.
then that maybe that skill has been
Oh, there's
lost.
no. Is there any scene in the original Star Wars where Luke trains with a lightsaber?
Yes.
Like actually trains,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
moves. Like,
That
when-
scene where there's this little robot that shoots at him, and he
Well,
has to block
yeah,
it.
but that was more like, do you, can you use the Force at all? But there's no like Luke standing in a forest
Fighting
clearing
with
doing
someone.
like a kata or something.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No,
So
I mean, in theory,
I don't know.
part of
I
the
think-
training
I
when
think
he
a lot
fought
of
with
that-
Vader, I guess, maybe in
Yeah.
that cave.
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't get too deep into, like in-universe reasons for those things. Like, I feel like most of why those sword fights look like the way they look in the different movies is just like the style of the day, like in the old movies those were influenced by whatever classic, like classic like medieval movies and so on. So there was no like fancy sword work because it just wasn't a thing in the like 70s, 80s, and then the prequels were like kind of after the I don't know, like kind of the boom of the 90s of like Matrix and all kinds of like flashy movies with like
Crouching
Kung Fu
Tiger.
and all Crouching Tiger and Dragon, like all of those kind of showy, flashy, choreographed martial arts movies, and I think that's why they had like the kind of wushu style lightsaber battles that just I don't know. I think they just don't hold up very well to me. Like that whole style, like even when you go back to movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I mean they don't pretend to look, they don't pretend to be like real sword fights or anything. Like it's kind of clear that it's like a totally aesthetic choice to be presented like that. But I think that wave has like it's just over now, and now it's like a lot more about like in fight scenes in movies, like they become like a bit more grounded in realism nowadays. Like whether it's like hand-to-hand fighting in like
Yep.
the Bourne movies or whatever movies, like you have things like MMA being like a big thing now, so you have like all the like movie fights look a bit more like a real kind of bit more gnarly fights.
Like a brawl.
And I guess with those sword fights it also goes a bit in that direction. Yeah. So
In the end, I had fun. It was like gave me goosebumps and stuff. First, seeing. I missed. What I missed is so stupid. Not that I missed, but it's like the classic when you see the Star Wars movie is the 20th Century Fox.
Oh man, yeah.
That is like you would see that always, and of course now since it's a Disney movie, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But they still kept the Lucasfilm logo.
Well, at least they didn't have the Disney castle there before.
I know that would be. That would.
Yeah,
be bad.
they had the sense not to do that.
Yeah. That is true. They easily could have done that, like even over the Lucas logo.
Yeah.
Easily could have totally pictured that happening, and it didn't. Not impressed.
Yeah. No, yeah, I had a good time. So, do you plan to see it again?
I think I might, but I'm going to wait a while to for the lines to go way down and just go one day after work to an IMAX movie and just watch it on IMAX. That's the only theater where I would watch it again. If I don't get a chance to watch it on an IMAX, probably wouldn't watch it again in a theater.
Yeah. Do they have IMAX 2D anywhere, or is it automatically
Yes.
3D?
Yeah, there's in the DC area. There's the Air and Space Museum. I think is showing it 2D on an IMAX, but that IMAX theater is smaller, I believe, and doesn't have the latest laser technology. So it's not like the top of the line. I think maybe they've upgraded it, but as far as I've read, the like pimped out IMAX theater is this other one at the Hazy Center, and that one is showing in 3D. And that one has, for sure, like I know that it has the latest laser technology and it's true IMAX, like the measurements and everything. But usually museums are the only ones that have like true IMAX, that like the true sized IMAX theaters. So they're all Smithsonian theaters, and at least the ones that are real.
Is your Smithsonian? Does that have an IMAX?
No, we do not.
That would be amazing.
I do not work in a
if
real.
You could just walk
No,
down
no.
one floor and just like have your
No,
own
no, no. I
private
don't work
Star
in any
Wars
of the museums.
screening.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be sweet. All right. Well, I just know that I walked out of that movie like just thinking like, man, I want to see the next one right now. Like it
I
ended
know.
on such a cliffhanger, like
Yeah.
almost literally a cliffhanger.
Literally.
Um,
Yes.
that yeah, no, and that's what you really want out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait 2 years now. Let's see. But at least we're going to get a little bit, of a Star Wars feeling and taste with. They're going to release, what is it called? Rogue One?
Oh yeah,
The spin-off movie. That's in a year. So at least we're going to get that.
I'm not really sure what to think about what to think of that. Like I'm a little.
Oh, yeah, me either.
I'm a little worried that they're obviously now gonna milk it for what it's worth, and they're just gonna produce like 100 Star Wars movies, and I don't know, if it's like so good to have like a different Star Wars property like in between those two.
Yeah, I will not like that movie. I will not be like if they screw it up, whatever. I
And it
won't
is
really
kind
care
of
that much.
sort of prequel sideshow, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's set during the original Star Wars movies.
I think the plot is they're trying to get it's the story about the rebels that got the plans for the Death Star, I believe.
Yeah. I just in general just don't like prequel style stories. Because with that movie, you already know what's going to happen. Like, yeah, they're going to get the plans.
The one that I feel man, this is very, like, they did not have to do this and they're going to do this, is the Han Solo story.
There's going to be a Han Solo movie?
There's going to be a Han Solo movie.
Is that also a prequel with, like, a young Han Solo?
Yes. That's
really?
the one that I feel like they should not have done that. And I think that's the one where they might screw it up. Maybe it'll end up being one of the best ones. But to me, if I would have done one story.
Who's doing those movies?
Oh, I think as of now, they are the only thing we have is the directors and writers. I think is the only thing that's publicly out there, which is promising because I believe the writer or director, like the writer for these movies, I think is the writer for Return of the Jedi and Empire.
Okay.
Or he's going to be a co-writer at least.
Yeah.
Which that's like,
I heard one of those, the director is, God, what's his name? I keep forgetting his name because it's really like generic. But it's the guy who made Brick and what's the other movie? That's like some time travel movie with Bruce Willis. And
I know which movie you're talking about, but I can't remember the director's name.
Look that up.
That's fine, whatever. That director.
That director. I think he's the one doing the Rogue movie, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Brick is one of my favorite movies, and I can totally see him pulling off a great Star Wars movie. So, yeah, I don't know.
I remember hearing some rumors that they were going to do a prequel. They were going to do it about focusing on the story of Yoda, and I thought that was a better idea of doing a movie about Yoda. Like, how the hell does this little green guy end up being one of the most powerful people in the universe? That would have been
like
more
when he was young, he
interesting.
was just like a normal guy, and then he just, how older people just shrink.
Yeah,
it's just like a dude.
Yeah, and the ears grow. Yeah, you get hair in your
gets
ears.
a little hairy in the nose. And then,
Yeah. To me, that honestly would have been a better prequel story to do.
I'm sorry, I would have no interest in seeing that.
Yeah, well, the Han Solo one, to me, I think it's even worse.
Yeah, that is even worse. That really seems totally lame to me. I think just anything that is a prequel is just like, I have no interest in that. Like, I think this you could do lots of good spin-off movies in the Star Wars universe. Like, I have no doubt of that. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for me, and kind of sad that they have to like do it all prequels. I mean, I understand why, but because it has just a built-in audience, it's maybe a bit safer than starting something new. But as long as you slap the Star Wars branding on it, like, that shouldn't be so much of a problem.
Yep.
And I mean, Disney, I think, can pull it off. It's like they've done the whole Marvel Universe stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
they've done a really good job with that.
considering how many movies they have out, like I think they were really successful. I mean, they're not all like instant classics. I guess most of them for me fall into the category of just being kind of solid action movies.
Yes.
Like
yes.
there are, I think, few standouts, but there are also not many that are like really bad. I feel like you kind of get what you kind of know what you're getting with those movies, and
They're
if you
just
want
fun
that,
movies
that's
to
fine.
watch, you know?
Yeah, but I also have to say, like, I'm obviously like fatigued of superhero movies at this point, and
Oh,
have been
man.
like have been for years, because
Did you see
and
the trailer
that's just
for the
inevitable.
Captain America movie? The Civil
Yeah,
War movie?
even though that one I think I'm gonna watch, because Civil War, because Winter Soldier was probably my favorite of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, you know, waiting for the Star Wars movie to come up, they put the trailer of Civil War.
Yeah.
Of course, I had watched it before, but watching it like on the big screen, I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's
That was a
I'm
good
done.
trailer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That final scene, like where in that trailer, oh my God, super intense. And
Yeah.
lots of people, like kids, were like, "No, what's happening? Why
Yeah,
are they
I
fighting?"
bet. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not a big comic book guy, but
Oh yeah, I've
but
heard.
Civil War is like one of the few like complete storylines I've actually read, and that was like I think my favorite superhero just story. And I mean the movie is going to be, I guess, very different from that, but like way cut down to a few characters. But yeah, no, I'm actually kind of excited to watch that
I'm
one.
predicting. Hopefully, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm predicting that the huge disappointment will be Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the one. That's going to be like DC
Yeah.
has not done a good job, unfortunately.
well, I mean the Batman movies are good,
Oh well, with the exception of the Batman movies, yeah.
but yeah, the other ones I guess not so
Yeah, I mean,
much.
it's not real. Well, okay, so maybe it's not DC's fault. It's the Superman movies. All the latest Superman movies have just been not that great.
I haven't seen a single one of those.
Huh,
Yeah, I don't know.
that says a lot.
Yeah, the newest Superman movie I've seen is one with Christopher Reeve. I can't remember which one.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and those I loved as a kid. You watch them now, and you're like, oh yeah, this is really cheesy, right? But and not all of those were great. Like some of the Christopher
Yeah.
Reeves movies.
I'm
were,
actually
like,
pretty
really
sure
bad.
I've only seen the first one.
Well, that's the best one.
Yeah,
So that's good.
and that one was cool. I
Yeah.
have not seen that one when it was new. Like I've seen that once sometime in the last 5 years for the first time. I know. As a kid, I always thought Superman was totally lame and wasn't interested in it. So, and since I didn't grow up in the U.S., superhero comics weren't really a thing, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really something I've only come through the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's
All
Star
right.
Wars.
That is Star Wars. Yeah. So this is probably a one-off that we're going to talk about something like this, but we just couldn't help it. We needed to get it out. Our opinions.
Luckily, it was not this big disappointment.
Yes.
If not, this whole video would be a huge rant of us being pissed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Maybe that would be more fun to watch. But yeah. I don't know. So the one thought I guess I still had on this, like the whole why is it another Death Star, is that, so to me, like a lot of it like is almost like a reboot of the original first Star Wars movie, or episode 4. I almost don't like saying episode 4 because it feels like I just really loathe the prequels. And anyways, is that like it's such a rehash, and I don't think it's completely cynical, because if you imagine like the people who have to come up with the story for this movie, like they have to serve so many different audiences. Like there's like on one hand there's the audience that is like us, who is like people in their 30s and maybe 40s and older, who grew up with the original movies and have like a strong nostalgia for them. Then there are the people who, all the kids of today, who only know Star Wars like a second hand, or maybe their dads like it, or they know the prequels, and they've watched the original ones, but they don't have this like nostalgic attachment to them. And then there's people have never seen any Star Wars movies and have no like just huge built-in interest in those. So I think I guess maybe the best thing for them to do was to have the first of the new series be just played really safe. That when they just take what clearly worked in the original movies, like all of those themes, and just reproduce like a modern version of that to some degree, just to get everyone kind of on board. You know, you have like you basically like this new generation of like kids who go see this movie, like they need to be more or less brought up to the same level that nerds like us are at. Like they need to develop this, like they have to have the same kinds of experiences that we had when we saw these movies first.
Right.
And you can't do that when you can totally do that if you do something that's really new, but it's much more risky. And for them, this movie needed to be a complete home run in terms of money and in terms of like fan approval. And I think I can totally understand why that movie is the way it is. And yeah, for our demographic, it seems kind of just on some level like maybe not very creative to rehash so many themes. But yeah, I think it was like the only way they could have done to satisfy everyone. And to
think about it in the universe anyways, I guess in that maybe that's what makes sense. That's the only way to gain power in the universe is having a machine that could destroy planets.
Just build a fucking giant
that's
machine.
the only thing you can do. I mean, if it's a good thing to, and it wasn't the Republic again doing it, right? It was the Order. So like the Order was like, yeah, the Republic had a good idea, so let's just do it again. But
yeah.
So I could kind of understand that, but man, there was no one guarding that room. It was empty. It was empty. It was like, where's the resistance there? Like, yep, just walk right in, put bombs.
Yeah, and they didn't really have ground troops
No.
down there. It's not like they were distracted from some other battle. There were just like a dozen X-Wings attacking, right? Like that was kind of it.
Yeah. So yeah,
when will they ever learn?
Yeah, it's and that's nitpicking, right? That's like really. Again, to me, it's not a deal breaker.
No, it's not. But yeah, you do automatically have those thoughts. All right. Okay, I think that probably does it.
Oh yeah, I think probably half the people just turned off the video halfway through.
All right. Okay. Well, next time we'll probably talk about camera stuff again.
Please, yes.
We have a bunch of things coming up next year. Lots of changes. I think Alberto is going to go to. You're going to Puerto Rico again?
No,
Costa Rica. Sorry.
No, Brazil.
Brazil this time.
I'm going on expedition to Brazil, so super excited for that. I'm going to be searching for frogs and taking pictures of them. So it doesn't get any better than that, and with awesome friends. So
sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I'll probably relocate to California and also continue some of the jumping spider work there with a lot more field work. So I'll probably be taking videos and documentary footage and all of that, and that will probably incorporate new techniques, new gear, and things that we might want to discuss here. And yeah, okay. So enough with the with the nerdery for now.
Yes.
And
we won't do this again, we promise, until the next one comes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then yeah. See you next time.
See ya.